This is He Knows His Sport, bringing you that heat and that fire. All right, y'all. We're going to talk about Canelo Alvarez versus possibly Demetrius Andrade. I told you guys, man, I wasn't going to do no Canelo Alvarez videos unless he took on credible opponents. Unless he started to go by what he said. Because out of his own mouth, he said that at this stage of his career, he's willing to fight nothing but the best. Let me say it again. At this stage of his career, he's willing to fight nothing but the best. That's the case. That's what you have to do, man. I ain't trying to hear this nonsense about, I'm going to fight Sergey D, or I'm going to sit there and fight Sergey Kovalev that's at 175 pounds, or I'm going to go to 168 and fight Caleb Smith or somebody like that. Yeah, that's, fantasy, saying type of fights or whatever. It is what it is, but you're at 160 pounds. You haven't made a full-time bid at 168. Neither have you done at 175. The fights to be made and the fights that everybody wants to see. If you're not a casual, or you're not one of these people that are just ultra fanboys with ultra fanboy rhetoric, because you know what we do with that, we kick that thing out the door. You want to see Canelo Alvarez versus Demetrius Andrade, or you want to see Canelo Alvarez versus Jermall Charlo. Those are the real fights at 160, because these are credible opponents that are at their peak. They would give Canelo Alvarez mad fits and problems, and folks need to be real with themselves. Now let's break down the fight, a possible fight if Canelo Alvarez fights Demetrius Andrade, how that fight will go. Okay, I've said this before. Demetrius Andrade was robbed of a credible opponent in BJ Saunders. Not on his fault, but more so on BJ Saunders' fault because of personal issues that he had, that he basically had to vacate that belt. So it's not like Demetrius Andrade earned the belt. He basically was given the belt. I have not seen Demetrius Andrade in big step-up fights. So if we're going to analyze the fight and break it down in terms of being battle-tested, in terms of being in high-quality fights and pressurized situations under the bright lights, well, Canelo Alvarez has that advantage. And see, I'm a truth teller. I come with cold-hearted, unadulterated, and cutthroat truth. So the truth of the fact of the matter is I have to look at this with the realistic lenses. But that still does not negate the fact that a Demetrius Andrade would give Canelo mad fits and mad problems, because he is a very good boxer. He is that guy that was basically beating up everybody in the amateurs. And Demetrius Andrade has shown, put way taller fighters in front of him, put way smaller fighters in front of him. Although he can be awkward at times, and although he can be wild in his style, he has the goods to pull the upset on Canelo Alvarez. But see, that's the thing. It would be considered an upset because we know that Canelo Alvarez at this stage has the experience. But I want to see this fight. I want to see this fight being made, because these are the real fights at 160. Because I believe that Demetrius Andrade has the goods to beat Canelo Alvarez. But see, where he lacks is the experience factor. And that's what's going to come into question. That's what's going to come into play. You got to give Canelo Alvarez the experience. I prefer Jermall Charlo over Demetrius Andrade because Jermall Charlo has been in bigger stages of his fighting career. He's been in bigger bright lights. I think he would give Canelo Alvarez even more problems because Jermall Charlo is more explosive. And see, to beat Canelo Alvarez, you have to put a fighter in there that is not only athletic, but explosive as well. Let me say it again. That's not only athletic, but is explosive as well, because Canelo Alvarez has shown you past tendencies of him being flat-footed against fighters that can move. All you got to do is look at the Lar fight. All you got to do is look at the Mayweather fight. All you got to do is look at certain elements of the Trout fight. He has issues against slicksters that can move their feet and move it well. Now, you have his cult-like following, and you got the Cinnamon Alvarez fanboys that's going to tell you, well, he has improved significantly. No, he hasn't. Canelo Alvarez has improved marginally at best. Now, he is a great boxer, and he has a great night chin. So you have to respect those things. And he has the experience factor. So if I'm sitting there and putting it all together and saying who's going to win that fight between Canelo Alvarez and Demetrius Andrade, then from experience factor, being battle tested, being basically under the bright lights, the logical and the more reasonable and the more making your sense common sense approach pick would be Canelo Alvarez. But I don't think it's that easy, because Demetrius Andrade, like I said, has a style that can give stylistically Canelo Alvarez fits. He can actually give him problems in the square circle, because Demetrius Andrade has a boxing style that really Canelo Alvarez won't be able to figure out. Now, here's the issue with Demetrius Andrade. He has tendencies of being wild. You can't do that against a guy that sounds like Canelo Alvarez, that knows how to make adjustments. Because if you do that kind of stuff, you're going to pay. So it was good that Demetrius Andrade just had that Selecki fight, because that was a good step-up fight for him, because he hasn't had a fight to that level. So that helped him. But I would have felt like right before the Canelo Alvarez fight, if he would have had one more step-up fight, I think he would have been even more ready and more seasoned for this type of fight. Because again, we have to respect Canelo Alvarez. That's who he's fighting. A guy that's basically in the rankings for top 3 pound for pound. So you have to respect that. Me personally, my preference is Jermall Charlo, because I believe Jermall Charlo has all the prerequisites and all of the goods to not only upset Canelo Alvarez, but beat him down. But Demetrius Andrade does as well too. But the question is, with Demetrius Andrade, are you going to drop the goof troop act? Are you going to stop being goofy and take this serious? Because if Canelo Alvarez sweepstakes happens to come at your front door and this fight actually happens, you need to take it with full severity, drop the goof troop act, and really dedicate yourself in the gym. And don't be doing this bullshit training that I see that you're doing against these other fighters, because you're actually fighting Canelo Alvarez, a guy that has a green-eyed chin, a guy that's going to keep coming forward, and a guy that's really going to push you and test your will. So to me, if I have to pick, this fight will be 70% to 30% leaning on Canelo Alvarez, because of the inexperience factor of Demetrius Andrade. But I still give Demetrius Andrade 30% chance. Now, if Demetrius Andrade can show me some maturity on his part and some development in terms of how he's training and how he's, his mindset is, then I might bring up the percentage to about 40 to 60, which would probably be a more realistic prediction. So that's the way that I see that fight going, if it were to take place. But you got to remember, Golden Boy Promotion, Oscar De La Hoya, and Canelo Alvarez, they've been known for putting this over our eyes. So we just got to wait and see. I'm not going to hold my breath, but it's good. And I told you guys, I would not talk about Canelo Alvarez until he starts giving me either Demetrius Andrade, either Jermall Charlo, or future super fight down the road with Errol Spence. Other than that, I really don't care who else he fights. And it's really that simple. This is He Knows the Sport. Checking out.